Okay.
I remember when I was 5 years old, it was about 9 o'clock at night, and Dad coming down and waking me up and taking me upstairs to where the black and white television was. And there on the television was Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. It's like, wow. My dad was so excited about that particular event and left an indelible mark on me that I remember this when I was 5 years old. And I guess from that moment on, I've always been fascinated by manned space flight. I remember watching the space shuttle in the early 90s and listening to some of the scientists talk about their experiences of being in space. And this one particular scientist said that one thing he missed most about flying in space was weightlessness. Yes, it was fun, but it made life a whole lot easier, living in space. And when he got back to Earth, it's one thing that he did notice is that gravity was very sticky. It was stuck to the Earth. And he spent hours in his pool trying to regain that feeling of weightlessness. Most of us may never become astronauts, but, and we'll never experience the freedom from Earth's gravity. But as Christians, we are called to free ourselves of earthly things, that hold us down, to free ourselves from the stickiness of the earth. Now, we are born into this world of our parents, our first parents, Adam and Eve, that made that little mistake in the Garden of Eden. Because of them, we're stuck here. And if you're going to blame anybody for your current way of life, you just blame it on your parents, the first ones. The author of the Book of Wisdom sums up our plight. Who can know God's counsel, or who can conceive what the Lord intends? The simple answer is no one. We live in this world, this clouded existence, distracted by the noise of the daily grind. And where we wonder in our lives, where all the stress comes from. We have to be successful. We have to get an education, get a job, get married, buy the house, have children, get the summer timeshare rental in Florida, put your kids through school, save enough to retire, and then retire. All this stuff that we need to do in our lives. Then what? The corruptible body burdens the soul. The earthly shelter weighs down the mind that has many concerns. The author of wisdom tells us that real wisdom is a gift from God. God gives us gifts all the time. We just don't recognize them. We're too clouded by everything that's happening down here. In the responsorial psalm, we beg the Lord, teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain wisdom of heart. But to free us from the bonds of earth, Jesus gives us the way of discipleship. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, cannot be my disciple. Now that's a strong word. Hate your parents. Hate your mother and father. I can just see your kids coming home. Mom, I hate you because I want to be a disciple of Jesus. Kids, if you try that at home, all you're going to end up is getting a whack upside the head. That's not what Christ is telling us. Here needs a little bit of understanding of what this meaning is. Ancient Semitic language of what Jesus spoke in. Hate in this context does not mean to hate your parents, but it does tell us to love Christ more and place earthly things in their proper place. Discipleship of Jesus calls us for planning and commitment. That's what today's parables in the gospel were all about, planning and commitment. The gospel tells us not to start a task unless we have the willingness to expend all that one has to complete it, even one's own life. We have to free ourselves. Jesus also calls us to renounce all that we have. I remember, when I was getting ready to come to seminary, and I was working up until the very last minute, just moving out of my house, getting ready to come to seminary. And I'd spend the weekend renouncing all my possessions, basically cleaning out the attic, throwing those things away that you still had from the previous 2 moves. You know, so the stuff that had all the inventory stickers on it when you move around all the time. And I would fill up the trash toter on the weekends. And then Sunday night, lug it out to the side of the street. And then I'd come home Monday afternoon, and the trash toter would be empty. It's like, oh, what a great feeling that was. I finally understood what this call of discipleship is to free ourselves from that things that hold us down. And what a great relief that was. The wisdom of God is all around us. We have to clear the cloud of darkness to see it, the things that hold us down. We have to unstick ourselves from our earthly existence. We have to live out the call of discipleship. And that's what means being unstuck from earth, so we can really truly live our lives as God has called us to be.
Amen. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.